Great to see everybody. Sorry y'all had to deal with only audio last week. I was driving, so I appreciate everyone kind of sticking through the hiccups. We had a good show last week, if you ask me, even though you couldn't see my beautiful face.
I agree, Julie. I'm currently trying to figure out how to post on LinkedIn. Boy, they make it difficult to post.
I thought there was just a button that said like a Facebook thing that said like status update. But while we're talking about posting on LinkedIn, if everyone wants to come in, retweet the space, or repost whatever platform you happen to be on, that would be wonderful. That way we can get some more people in here, ask some more questions, get some more knowledge. Nothing that could ever be bad. So I know it's a beautiful day. Maybe some people are going on a walk and want to get some knowledge on their walk. That's potentially what I was doing 5 minutes ago. Yeah.
Tonight's we're gonna have a little combo. We're gonna have the live video from 7 to 7:30, and then we're gonna switch to a X space from 7:30 to 8. So if you have an appraisal, a Ask Me Anything, maybe some domain news, even a product or service you can share with us, we'll be doing that audio only on a space. So you can just ask to be a speaker. We'll check you out, make sure you've liked the room, make sure you've retweeted the room. So that's what you'll do. If you've liked and retweeted the room, then we'll go ahead and welcome you on stage and see what you have for us. Or you can give me an Ask Me Anything or an appraisal of either a Web 2 or a Web 3 domain or a Web 3 TLD or even a Web 2 TLD if you're thinking about applying one in the next round. Why not? We'll do it all, Julie.
It's 2026, right? The new ones come out?
Yes. So, yeah, let me go ahead.
We're catching on the wire there. When are applications due?
So, they still haven't made what's called the applicant guidebook.
Okay.
And the applicant guidebook, which originally had about 120 issues with it. And
like volumes or like problems?
Things that they needed to discuss or settle.
Gotcha. Okay, so topics. Gotcha.
And ICANN is a global bureaucratic organization that represents all internet users except internet users. That's my view of ICANN. But they do represent the attorneys, the businesses, the registries, and the registrars, and the governments. And so they decided to approve this new round of new top-level domains. Originally, we had COM, and then we had .net and .org, and we have different countries. Then we got some miscellaneous ones from 2002 to 2012, like .info and .biz and .cat for Catalonia, .xxx, .travel, .museum. And those were supposed to be a test bed to determine if we needed more. And they decided we needed more. So in 2012, they gave out about 800, and there haven't been any new ones since then. So what they said was, even though we have 100 issues still to fix, we're going to approve the new round, and we're going to put a release date of April 2026.
1 year from now. Ooh.
But they still haven't, they've left all the hard issues till the end. They're going to make decisions on them. Then they're going to release what's called the applicant guidebook for public comment. Then they're going to consider the public comment, which is
public comment,
which is really questionable whether they actually consider the public comment. Then they're going to make this thing called the final applicant guidebook, and that'll be like the application, the instructions for the application. And then you'll apply next April. Then they'll decide which ones come out. Then they'll have to contract with ICANN. Then they'll have to launch. So that is going to take some time in 2026. So
yeah, maybe we won't actually see the new TLDs available for use and purchase until maybe September, do you think?
Well, last time it took them 2.5 years.
Oh, wow. That's crazy because then you're just out the money for that long because it's an expensive application process for those who don't know.
Now, because of that, they say they're going to do it quicker this year. And the only problem is all the things that are tricky, they haven't decided on. Like what happens if I apply for .crazy and you apply for .crazy?
Because last time it was just you outbid each other. It was just finance, right?
Well, no, that's still in place this time,
Okay.
except this time, what they said last time was we want you guys to work it out.
Yeah, that'll work.
And so what companies did was they invented this new thing called a private auction. And what they said was kind of like playing poker. Julie, you say how much you would bid for .crazy. And I say how much I would bid. So you say an extra, besides the 180,000, you say I'll pay another 50,000. Then I'll say I'll pay another 100,000. Then you say you'll pay another 150,000. Then I say I'll pay another 200,000 and you pass. So I get it for paying another 200,000.
And I still have to pay the 180, right?
Right, but here's what they did. They allowed companies to use this private auction, and since they didn't want any money, the private auction said whoever loses the private auction gets the money from the winner.
Oh, okay. So that makes it better to apply because even if you don't get the TLD, you in theory had your application fees covered if you can afford to be out the money for that long.
So a lot of people that applied for like 5 or 10 or 20 TLDs last time found that they could bid like they wanted to win. Then they could stop bidding and they made millions of dollars by not getting the TLDs.
Oh.
Now, this time, everyone thinks they're going to do the same thing. So ICANN said, we're not going to allow private auctions. If you both want .crazy, you have to go into an auction and ICANN gets the money.
So then the loser is still out their application fee.
They're out their application fee and they don't do. But if they want to.
Oh, we talked about this a few months ago. I remember this now.
Now it's still out for public comment, but what ICANN is proposing is that if you wanted to, if you found out that there was someone else that wanted your TLD, you could have submitted a second choice. Like I could say, I want .crazy, but if I don't get .crazy, I want .quantum for quantum computing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could have submitted that you want .crazy, but if you don't get .crazy, you want .stylish.
Okay, I see.
Problem is there's already a .style. So they may say that you can't have stylish .style. But again, neither one of us has to switch. ICANN just hopes that one of us switches. Like kind of like offering that big piece of cherry pie, the last piece of cherry pie. Oh, you take it. Oh, no, you take it. Oh, no, you take it. Oh, I'd hate for you to take it. So anyway, but again, no one knows the final rules. Because we don't, yeah.
Whenever we first talked about this process, whenever you said application, I thought it was like almost like a business plan where you had to state what you were going to do with the TLD, and whoever had the better application would win the TLD. What is the problem? Like whoever had the better plan, who they like, kind of like an investment. Like if I treated ICANN like Shark Tank, whoever had the better presentation was gonna get the TLD. That's what I thought this was a long time ago. Is there?
Yeah. So they think that if they're that makes ICANN what's called a kingmaker. If you get a monopoly kingmaker, and they would be subject to accusations that they were influenced by friends, family, whatever. And they said, we don't want to be in the business of picking winners. Even though we're a global government body that's supposed to look out for the needs of the internet, when it comes to picking which new TLDs we're going to have, they decided that they should just let anyone who has the money apply, and they'll approve them all.
And this is why We love Web3.
And so what you have in Web3 is you have the same thing at TLD. And I'm going to say this because hopefully we can cut it out later. I'm going to tell everyone the difference between a Web 2 and a Web 3 TLD right now. And the difference is distribution. If I have a TLD, like I have .summer on Web3, and it's not signed up with ICANN, so I am not distributing my TLD through the global internet. That's a pretty big advantage.
Yeah.
Whenever anyone buys a computer and you have an ICANN TLD, it works. If you have a Web3 TLD, it may work if you have a browser plugin. It may work if you have certain browsers, or you may be using your domain name or your digital identity. That's my doorbell. My dinner's here. You may be using your domain name or your digital identity in a way that doesn't even involve the internet. So you don't care about your internet distribution because you're not even using it on the internet. You're using it as just a badge. I'm pagehow.summer. I'm onchain.summer. You may be using it as a wallet address to send cryptocurrency. Has nothing to do with the internet. So but you can own it. Now, in the future, could you build your own distribution to equal ICANN? Very unlikely.
Right.
But what if you didn't need the whole world to know about your TLD? What if you just wanted your customers to know about it? And if they came to your website, summer.domains, and they wanted to have a .summer and they wanted to see the whole world of .summer, they downloaded a plugin. And just like Netflix, you have to build up your audience one person at a time. So you follow me? Instead of being given the entire ICANN audience, you have to build up your audience one step at a time. But you didn't have to pay $250,000. You didn't have to abide by all the rules of when you could have your TLD later.
Yeah.
What are the rules? You have to pay $25,000 a year. You have to abide by trademark, and we're all for trademark protection, but there's already existing rules in place that you have to abide by. You have to abide by abuse, and I think there shouldn't be abuse. There shouldn't be inappropriate uses of domain names. You have to sell only through certain resellers called registrars. So there's good and there's bad. Up till now, Julie, the juice has been worth the squeeze. Pay $250,000, get an ICANN TLD, because you're going to have an ICANN TLD, and that's going to be the gateway to riches. What do you think?
At least have the first innate 100,000 names that are registered from bots who just need them for email addresses or like multi-click links. Like, you have that innate initial purchase, and I think that's the difference maker. Is in Web3 you don't have that. You have to work for each purchase you get. You're not going to have the, I guess, accidental growth.
Right. And so the theory is I'm going to have my TLD, and it's going to be a new TLD. The last round in 2012 we call the new TLDs. So I am now officially bequeathing the new round, calling them the new news.
The new news.
The new TLDs. I'm going to go register newTLDs.com. These are the new TLDs. Now, you think the whole world is out there waiting for my new TLD. Problem is, there could be 400 or 500 new TLDs also coming out.
Have they stated how many are going to drop? How many they're going to?
It depends how many people pay the $250.
Spooky.
And they're like, well, we don't know how to budget what to charge people because we don't know how many are going to apply to know what to charge people.
Okay.
And because that was a hard thing to figure out, they put it in this basket of decisions that say we're going to decide at the very, very end. Then we're going to put out a public comment. Then we're going to approve the guidebook. Then we're going to take applications. And
it's time to cross the bridge now. You always say you'll cross that bridge when we get there. We have gotten there.
So right now, there's a lot of consultants and applicants out there making their plans. Some of them are launching Web3 TLDs of what they're going to launch next year to start building community now.
Interesting. I like that.
Some of them don't want to tell anybody what they're going to apply for because they don't want competitors, because then they'll have competitors that they have to bid at auction against.
Is there any collusion in that?
So ICANN has said that there won't be any collisions in their system. And that's one of the benefits of having a TLD on the ICANN system.
No, collusion.
Oh, collusion.
Behind the scenes. Oh, I'll bid on this and you bid on that, and that way, like, X, Y, and Z will happen, you know?
There could be. I would say that the general consensus is if ICANN doesn't say you can't do it, you can do whatever you want. That's me talking. I'm just talking here. I'm just a guy. Okay. So, you know, if I was going to apply for .crazy, on one hand, I could put out a press release that says I'm applying for .crazy. I'm backed by multi-million-dollar venture capitalists. We're going to be awesome. Don't mess with me. Don't even think about applying. We're going to be the biggest one.
Psychological stuff going on even behind the scenes.
And like, someone else could say, I'm going to apply for .crazy and act like I'm going to, so you'll have to pay me off. Even though ICANN says you can't pay me off, you never know.
It's dark.
So there's two schools of thought. One is you say what you're going to be. So I think those communities that are branded, like if you invented a cryptocurrency called Apple Tree, just, well, that isn't a good one because it's Apple, you know, but say Pear Tree. Say you had Pear Tree, and you're the Pear Tree cryptocurrency. You have a Pear Tree user base. You might go out and say we're going to be Pear Tree, and yeah, there could be a Pear Tree nightclub somewhere or something that wants Pear Tree. But you're now, if it's a regular word like .tree, you know what I mean?
You're gonna have some competition.
Yeah, and there could be a .tree. So here's what I think. No one really even knows what's been listed now.
Yeah.
I just found out there's a .guide, which makes sense, but I didn't know there was a .guest. .guest.
Okay.
Has
That's a good one. See, this one's on the register.
Has like 1,000 or 2,000 registrations. So my take is that there's ones already out there that have the ICANN seal of approval that aren't exactly killing it. Yet other people think when they apply for theirs, they're going to kill it.
I mean, we talked about this from the beginning of when we started doing this show, is registrars, only a few of them are just now starting to realize that they need to market their TLD.
Registries.
Sorry, I'm really bad at mixing this.
No, that's why I wanted to take this second because it can sound like registries.
Either or, honestly. I mean, the owner of the TLD and the domain name registrar, they need to do, if they want to get, I don't know if there's an incentive to get non-com registrations, but either or, that is a new concept of, you know, marketing domains, and yeah, I guess not new. I feel like we've been talking about it for like a year or two now, but.
So here's my prediction. I've got a prediction. I'm going to share my screen. So this is a website called NTLD Stats. Did that show up, Julie, for you?
I'm turning it on, yes.
And so these are all the new TLDs that came out. This is NTLD Stats. And it's sorted by the ones that have the most domains. So XYZ is the biggest one of these new TLDs that were launched 10 years ago. They have 5 million domains. And in the last day, they added 6,000 net. They added 7,400 and they lost 1,300.
Wow.
So .top has 4.2 million, .shop 4 million, online store site, SBS bond, club is here 640,000, CFD, which you and I do some promotion for, 400,000. That's the 22 ranked TLD. But let's go down to the bottom here. Blue, 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 blue. Now I'm going to go down to .tips. That's got 23,000. That's still pretty good. .swiss has 23,000 for Switzerland. .fund, .red has 20,000. But let's go all the way down to ones that have 4,000. .mortgage has 4,000. .tattoo has 4,000. .movie has 4,500. So there's a lot of them that only have 3,000 to 4,000. And we have all these ones that have less than that. .soccer, .discount, .exposed. Have you ever heard of that one, Julie?
No, it doesn't sound very wholesome.
.radio.
I have heard of that one.
.nexus, .singles, .broker, .cleaning. Now we're down to 2,000. Now .hockey has 2,000. .spa has 1,700. .accountant 1,600. So all these down here, .black Friday, .physio, they have less than 1,000. So these have this great monopoly that they're real ICANN TLDs, and they're maybe struggling to get registrations, but we're going to issue a bunch of new ones. But here's my prediction, my second bold prediction of the night. I think there will be 2 or more applications for new TLDs that actually already exist in the ICANN root. I predict.
Hopefully people will do their research, right? And they'll make, like, hopefully that's step one, is making sure it's not already, if people just have that kind of money to burn, that's wild.
Now,
and
here's some of the things that'll be interesting in the next round. In general, they're not going to approve single character TLDs.
Why is that?
They think it's too easy to make a mistake and just put .4. Like, say you were texting and you put .4.
Oh, that makes sense. Actually, I like that.
You know what I mean? And it would just be too easy to confuse every possible time that .4 exists in the world, or .a, that they should be able to figure out that that's a TLD. And so now 2 letters, I don't think they're going to give some out because they're supposed to be mostly country codes.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put them past it to decide that they may give out a 2-letter. They're not supposed to.
Well, because only a few of the 2 letters that exist right now are actually being used as country codes.
Well, there's about 240. So
let me rephrase.
Now, of country codes.
Of country codes are not being used as country codes.
No, they're all being used as country codes. Some of them are being marketed because, like .tv, .la, .me, they're being co-marketed.
That's what I mean. Like, when .ai, you're not thinking.
.ai is the biggest one, the most powerful TLD in the world right now.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, .com is the most powerful, but emerging. So the biggest thing that's going to be tricky is they're going to hire a committee to determine if your application, like, say there's a .car right now and you apply for .cars, is that going to be confusing to the internet?
So are they gonna, if I apply for a TLD and it's like, it's not a good one, you know, like it's too long or whatever, and no one else applied for it and it doesn't already exist, and there's really not any trademark, can they still decline my application just because it's not good?
That's what they have to put in. No, they can't decline it because it's not good.
Okay.
They're putting in the applicant guidebook. Now, if you have to commit to have the resources necessary to market your TLD,
right,
you have to show that you have paid these deposits to make sure the data of who owns every domain has a last chance data, a place where the data is stored. You have to pay that in advance so that ICANN knows that if you go out of business, they still have a place to store the data, and you have to pay for them.
Interesting.
So there's some things you have to do, but just because you have a crazy idea, no, in general they're saying you can't. So they're saying that if you, I'll do the last three, then I'll let you. If you have a name that sounds like a country but isn't, the country may object. If you apply for a city domain, you're supposed to have the support of the city at some level. But that's, again, got to be in the applicant guidebook. And then you have plurals and singulars, which are called string confusion. And then there's some strings like .home and .corp and .mail, either .mail or .email, where they just think because so many companies use it internally, you know what I mean, that it would be confusing. So, but they haven't published the guidebook, but they have published parts of the guidebook. So do your own research, There's lots of consultants out there, but so yeah, there's some things that they can say your application runs afoul of the rules. So, and then they have to say whether you get your money back or whether you just made a mistake and we're going to keep your money.
Yeah, but if I'm a billionaire who has an outlandish idea, if I'm, Elon Musk and I want to start Elon Musk Tesla, I can.
Yes.
Interesting.
Or you can be a company Tesla and you could say I want .Tesla.
Right. No, and that one would make sense.
But what's funny is a lot of companies that won them 10 years ago are now, because you have to pay like 10 or 20,000 a year of dues, they're letting them go. So you have some companies that got him 10 years ago letting him go. At the same time, other companies are applying to get him.
Interesting. I forgot what I was going to say.
Yeah.
That I was going to say something.
So we got on the new TLD. Thing. So yes, we are now within a year of when they say they're going to start taking applications.
Well, it is 7:30, so I think it is due time that we switch to X.
Gotcha.
So everyone who's on here, we're going to be live on Pages X. Dad, do you want to? What's your X?
At Joe Domains.
At Joe Domains. Hey, radio test. Pass. Okay. So I am going to put it on the thing. He's going to be hosting a Twitter space where you guys can come on, talk, chat, all that jazz. And then keep an eye out because we might be a multi-time-a-week show here in the near future. So it's great to see everyone. See you on X in 30 seconds.